Hello, boils and ghouls! I'm gonna review every single one of the Friday the 13th movies, and I bet you'll never guess why. Doot 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 doot. It's Friday the 13th. Now I'm wearing my other glove. Wait a second. It's gonna be on a second. There we go. It's the glove. Wow. Anyways, I'm gonna review the new Charles movie later, maybe, where he has a cult that's spooky. It's basically just a bunch of Charleses giving things away. Oh, you'll have to watch it. And then you'll have to watch my review, and I'm wasting time when I could be reviewing a movie, but it's probably not going to even be that long of a review of all the movies. There's 13. No, wait, there's 12. There should be 13 if they make a part 2 to the remake, which would be terrible because the remake sucks and it's just so terrible. I might also review Borderlands some other time because I started playing that game and it was really fun. It's like a combination of all my favorite things in games. So look for that sometime. I might delete the last 2 videos I made because they weren't really good reviews, and I'd like to start them over again sometime. So if you're watching this a couple years after I made this, then this video is probably deleted, and you'll have no clue what I'm talking about. You won't even know what I'm remaking. So it doesn't even matter. So why'd I say it? It doesn't make any sense. And I was dressing up all spooky, and you might say to yourself, but Waffles, that jacket's not spooky, it's green. Well, sir, this jacket's supposed to represent what kind of a person I am. Slime. I've been watching Ghostbusters. This is my favorite jacket. I haven't washed it in like 3 weeks. There's a spot there. The review. Start it. Press this button. Friday the 13th is a great horror series, and it's probably one of the most popular ones. And I'm just going to review every single one of the Jason movies in order, so they're not all called Friday the 13th. Quick spoiler, in the first Friday the 13th movie, Jason is not the killer, it is his mom. Big shocker. If you didn't know that, then you are not a real Friday the 13th fan, let me tell you. Because this is something everyone should know. This movie was made in the freaking 80s. But, yeah, the mother's the killer. It's got a lot of cool death scenes. I don't feel sympathy for any of the characters, which makes it cooler when they all die. Jason only shows up for 2 scenes. One scene to establish that he's a deformed kid who got bullied, and another scene to establish that he's going to die. Also, there's this weird old guy named Ralph that I really like. Friday the 13th Part 2 is the first Friday the 13th movie to have Jason actually be the killer. And he's around killing people with this bag over his head. He must be a Canadian. Because in cartoons, there's always that one ugly Canadian with a bag over his head. It's always that ugly Canadian. I don't get it. But, yeah, he has a shrine of his dead mother, which is very Norman Bates of him, and he kills Ralph. Poor Ralph. I liked Ralph. Ralph was cool, but he died. And I still really like the bag over Jason's head with just one eye hole. It must be impossible to see in that thing. But he has a pickaxe instead of a machete, and in this one, he looks like a homeless person. He doesn't even look deformed. I don't like the way he looks in this one. He looks dumb. Stupid. Don't like it. It's terrible. Honestly, this isn't my favorite at all of the Jason movies, but it's close, I guess. The third Jason movie was in 3D, which means there's a lot of sharp objects being pointed at your eyeballs. It was good. It was the first one to have Jason wear the hockey mask, and the death scenes are in 3D, so they look pretty epic. Uh, Graphics, like terrible special effects. I can you call it special effect? Yeah, you can. I think. I don't know, but I actually felt sympathy for some of the characters, so that's a plus, I guess, because it made me feel bad when they died. Like, I like that guy who's always making jokes, talk about how ugly he is. He just always talk about how ugly he is, like it's a big important detail. The fourth one was the first one to have Tommy Jarvis, and he's a little kid in it, and he shaves his head bald to look like little Jason as a boy, to spooks Jason. Also, he sees a lot of naked women, and he does like it. His mommy don't like it. The death scenes in this movie are pretty great, and Jason takes a machete to the freaking face, and I like the way he looks in this one. He's bald and deformed and mutilated, and he has terrible teeth, and his left eye looks weird. Spoilers again in part 5. Jason's also not the killer. It's some guy trying to avenge his son from the beginning of the movie that died, who loved chocolate bars. Yeah, that's an important detail. Like when you first see it, you wonder why they included that. Like how is this important? But in the end, Tommy Jarvis was supposed to become a killer. Like it is said he was supposed to be the killer in the next couple movies, but he never was. He never became the killer. It's dumb. Why'd they do that? And Jason's mask doesn't have the red stripes, but it has the blue ones this time. And the deaths in this one are creative, like really creative, which is weird. In the beginning, you feel like this is gonna be the most Jason movie, but then in the end, you find out it's not even Jason. You feel lied to. In part 6, Jason is actually, him. His corpse was shot with lightning, and he came back to life, and Tommy Jarvis looks entirely different than he did in the previous 2 movies. He's no longer a nerd. They forgot entirely about that, and he's supposed to be a stereotypical ghoul guy. Cool guy. Which is weird. His personality entirely changed within the couple of years. But he's trying to kill Jason for good, and this one doesn't take itself quite as seriously as the other ones, which I like. This has to be my favorite one, I think. Not my favorite Jason, but my favorite movie about Jason, because I don't like the way Jason looks in this movie quite as much as other Jasons, but he looks cool in this movie. He's got, like, his face is green, and he's got maggots. He's a lot deader, I could say that. But, other than that, nothing really to say. This one is basically just Jason versus Carrie, which is this is weird. Where it was supposed to actually be Jason versus Carrie, and they just couldn't get Carrie or something. This one has a dumb idea, but it has the coolest looking Jason, I think, because he has chains around him. He's dead. He's got maggots. He's got a broken mask. You can see his spine. He looks a lot cooler, and the scene where his mask tears off and it shows his face is great. But the idea is still a really dumb idea. I don't know why he's fighting a character that's basically just Carrie. It's out of all the crossovers, why would you even want a Jason and Carrie crossover? Dumb idea, greatly executed. But I in the game, I suggest choosing that one. This one is Jason Takes Manhattan, which is weird because half the movie he's on a boat, and the second half he's in New York. Like, he spends so much time on the boat, and I just don't care. I just want to see him kill people in New York. And this movie does not show New York in a good way. It shows, like, rats everywhere, trash everywhere, bullies, punks, and everything, but Jason, without his mask on in this movie, looks ridiculous. He looks like a ghoul from a cartoon or something, like from Scooby-Doo. He has this weird melty face and, like, no teeth, and he's bald, and he's... Well, he's bald on all of them, so I can't really judge it like that. But this movie is really exactly what you'd expect from Jason going to New York. Like, it's so cliche and dumb and 80s. The most 80s movie ever. And Jason Goes to Hell, when I first heard the title, I thought this was like literally Jason in hell, exploring hell, fighting off demons or something, and I thought that idea would be so great, and I really wish that's what they went with, because that would have been a great idea for a movie. But instead, it's just Jason possessing people, which is terrible, but it keeps on trying to get itself to be crossovers. Like, it's trying to cross over with a bunch of other movies. Jason looks ridiculous in it, but the Necronomicon is in it, so that adds more points, because freaking big Evil Dead and H.P. Lovecraft fan, and if you include the Necronomicon, Papa bless. Because I really would like to see Evil Dead cross over with Jason, but instead they just got Freddy. They couldn't get anyone else but Freddy. But Freddy, the ending with Freddy is surprising. I don't think of anybody who probably would dislike the ending that's a Jason fan. If you're not a Jason fan or a Freddy Krueger fan, you're not going to like the ending. But it's a good movie, and I suggest you watch it, or don't, because it's not the best, really. So, Jason X is basically Jason meets Star Trek, which is amazing. A lot of people I know hate this movie and think it's like the worst Jason movie, but I like it, and I like the idea because I'm a Star Trek fan, and I freaking hate Star Wars, God. But this has more similarities with Star Trek than Star Wars. The kills in it are great. He makes the Skrull's head into basically an icicle and smashes her head off of something and shatters everywhere, which is amazing. And it had the scene where it's a similar scene to one of the previous movies where he puts a girl in a bag and hits her off a tree, but he does it multiple times, and it's great. And then there's this new Jason, which is great. I love when people try to do their own thing with Jason and try to make their own version of him. It's really artistic freedom at this point. And the Jason X, or Jason with the metal suit, or whatever you want to say, looks really cool. He's not even wearing a hockey mask at this point. It's just a metal mask covering his face. But the characters just are really annoying in this movie. But, like, for smart people in a Star Trek-like area, they seem to be obsessed with sex a lot. Then there's Freddy versus Jason, which a lot of people like, but I'm not a fan of it. I wish they did better, because I don't like this movie. I don't think it's good. It's just boring or unnecessarily confusing and complicated, and I didn't like it. The deaths are great. The lighting sucks. Acting, not so good. Characters, hateable. The ending is great. The ending I really liked, where they're fighting to the death, when it actually gets to the Freddy versus Jason part. And the ending I thought was really dumb, but I thought it could introduce to a part 2 with Ash from The Evil Dead, but they never did that, and I'm hoping they do it eventually, because I heard they were supposed to do it, and they were trying to do it a while ago, but I think they gave up for how long it's been taking, so I don't know anything about that. But I would really like to see that, because Evil Dead crossing over with Jason and Freddy Krueger would be an amazing movie. Also, this thing I saw online, which kind of I thought was so funny. Jason killed 111 people throughout his movies, and Freddy only killed like 44 or something, which is really unexpected, to be honest. This one, I think, is the worst one. I hate this movie. It's the remake, and it's terrible. I hate it, and there's this big subplot thing about weed. There's never weed in any of the other ones. This one says it's like
Friday the 13th remake, which is wrong because it's a remake of the second, third, and fourth movie, not the first one. And they didn't even try doing anything cool with Jason's face, which I love about the movies, that each one has a cool version of what Jason's face looks like, and this one he just looks like a homeless person. Doesn't even really look that deformed. It's terrible. And it's got like this one actor from Supernatural. I don't know why they chose him. I don't know, it's not good. But I hope you enjoyed the series, and it's one of my personal favorites.